Everything you have been told about success is a lie. You have been sold a version of reality that is sanitized, polished, and packaged to keep you comfortable. They tell you that if you follow your passion, the doors will simply swing open. They tell you that you are special just for showing up. They tell you that burnout is the ultimate enemy and that you should prioritize your comfort above all else. But look around you. Look at the people who follow that advice. Are they the champions you admire? Are they the ones breaking boundaries, building empires, and living lives of absolute freedom and purpose? No, they are the 99%. They are the people stuck in the cycle of mediocrity, wondering why their big dreams never seem to manifest while they wait for a stroke of luck that will never come. The truth is much harsher and much more empowering than the fairy tales you have been fed. Success is not a product of luck, and it is certainly not a product of comfort. Success is the byproduct of a relentless, unforgiving, and often lonely grind. It is the result of choosing the hard path when the easy one is right there in front of you. It is the result of voluntary suffering. You are here because you feel that friction. You feel the gap between who you are and who you know you are capable of becoming. That gap is not filled with shortcuts. It is not filled with hacks or secrets. It is filled with the grind. In this audiobook, we are going to tear down the myths that have kept you stagnant. We are going to diagnose exactly why you have been playing small and why you have been afraid of the very struggle that is designed to forge you into a champion. Most people see struggle as a sign that they are doing something wrong. They hit an obstacle and they turn around, assuming they have taken a wrong turn. But the champion knows that the obstacle is the way. The struggle is the proof of progress. If you are not struggling, you are not growing. If you are not uncomfortable, you are not evolving. This is your wake-up call. The world does not owe you anything. Your potential is a burden until you realize it through consistent, disciplined action. We are going to explore the 10 pillars of the champion's mindset, but I need you to understand something right now. Knowledge without application is just a form of entertainment. If you listen to this and do nothing, you are just another consumer. But if you listen and implement, if you embrace the pain of the process and the boredom of the routine, you will become the 1%. You will become a champion. It is time to stop looking for an exit and start looking for a way to endure. It is time to embrace the grind. Let us begin. Chapter 1: The Myth of the Natural. The world loves a story about a natural. We love to look at the elite athlete, the billionaire entrepreneur, or the world-class artist, and say that they were just born with something special. We tell ourselves that they have a spark, a gift, or a genetic predisposition that we simply do not possess. We do this for a very specific and very dangerous reason. When we label someone as a natural, we give ourselves permission to be average. If they were born that way, then it is not our fault that we aren't at their level. It's a convenient excuse. It's a way to soothe our egos while we sit on the couch and watch them achieve greatness. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how excellence is created. There is no such thing as a natural champion. Every single person you admire was once a beginner who was willing to be bad at something for a very long time. They were willing to look foolish, to fail publicly, and to endure the agonizingly slow process of incremental improvement. Most people want the result without the transformation. They want the championship trophy, but they don't want the thousands of hours of practice in an empty gym when no one is watching. They want the successful business, but they don't want the years of working a side hustle until 2 in the morning while their friends are out partying. The 99% are obsessed with the outcome, but the 1% are obsessed with the process. You must realize that your current limitations are not fixed. Your brain and your body are incredibly plastic. They adapt to the demands you place upon them. If you place no demands on yourself, you will remain soft. If you seek out the hardest challenges, you will become hard. The myth of the natural is a cage. It suggests that your destiny is written in your DNA. This is false. Your destiny is written in your daily habits. Think about the most successful person you know. You might see their current lifestyle, the cars, the respect, the influence. But you did not see them 10 years ago when they were grinding in obscurity. You didn't see the nights they spent doubting themselves but kept working anyway. You didn't see the hundreds of rejections they faced. People love to skip the middle part of the story. They love to jump from the humble beginning to the glorious end, but the middle part is where the champion is actually made. The grind is the middle part. It is the long, dark tunnel where most people quit because they can't see the light at the end yet. Champions don't need to see the light to keep moving. They move because they have decided that moving is the only option. They have embraced the identity of someone who works. You must stop waiting for it to feel easy. It will never feel easy. The higher you climb, the more resistance you will face. The difference between a champion and an average person is how they perceive that resistance. To the average person, resistance is a reason to stop. To the champion, resistance is the weight that builds the muscle. Imagine you are building a house. Most people spend all their time looking at the blueprints and dreaming about the finished mansion. They talk about the curtains and the furniture, but they never actually pick up a hammer. They never dig the foundation. They are waiting for the house to build itself because they think they are naturally meant to live in a mansion. You, on the other hand, must understand that greatness is built one brick at a time, and bricks are heavy. They are dusty. They are boring. But if you lay one brick with perfection every single day, eventually you have a wall. Then you have a room. Then you have a fortress. The myth of the natural is designed to keep you from picking up the first brick. It makes the task seem so monumental that you feel it's impossible for someone like you. I am telling you that you are exactly the kind of person who can achieve greatness, but only if you are willing to abandon the idea that it should come naturally. It will come through effort. It will come through struggle. It will come through the grind. Most people are looking for a hack to get ahead. They want the secret supplement, the secret productivity app, or the secret connection. There is no secret. The secret is that you have to do the work that everyone else is too lazy to do. You have to stay when everyone else leaves. You have to start when everyone else is sleeping. This isn't about being better than others. It's about being better than the version of yourself that wants to quit. Every time you push through a moment where you wanted to stop, You are killing the average version of yourself. You are shedding the skin of the 99% and growing the armor of a champion. Stop looking for your talent and start looking for your work ethic. Talent is a starting point, but work ethic is the finish line. There are thousands of talented people who are currently doing nothing with their lives because they thought their talent would carry them. They are being passed by people with half their talent but 10 times their drive. Which one are you going to be? Are you going to be the talented failure or the disciplined champion? The choice is made every single morning when you wake up. It's made every time you face a difficult task. Don't be fooled by the highlight reels you see on social media. Those are the results of the grind, not the grind itself. Embrace the reality that it will be hard. Embrace the reality that you will have to suffer. Once you accept that, the struggle loses its power over you. It becomes just another part of the day, like breathing. You don't complain about having to breathe, you just do it. Treat your grind the same way. It is the oxygen of your success. Without it, your dreams will wither and die. With it, you are unstoppable. You must develop a hunger for the work itself. Most people are hungry for the praise. They do a little bit of work and then they look around to see who is clapping. If no one is clapping, they lose motivation. A champion doesn't need an audience. A champion is motivated by the internal standard they have set for themselves. They know that if they cheat the process, they are only cheating themselves. You cannot lie to yourself about the work you have put in. You know if you gave 60% or if you gave 100%. The 99% live in a state of constant self-deception, convincing themselves they did their best when they know they held back. You must be brutally honest. If you didn't do the work, admit it and do better tomorrow. If you did do the work, don't celebrate yet. Just do it again. Consistency is the only thing that separates the greats from the almost greats. The world is full of people who were great for a day or a week or a month. The world is owned by the people who are great every single day for decades. That is the grind. That is the path. And it is open to you right now if you are willing to walk it. Chapter 2: The Architecture of Resistance. Resistance is the universal force that acts against anything trying to move from a lower state to a higher state. If you want to stay exactly where you are, you will feel very little resistance. You can sit on your couch, eat processed food, and scroll through your phone for hours, and the world will let you do it. There is no resistance in decay. But the moment you decide to improve, the moment you decide to lose weight, start a business, or master a skill, resistance will appear like a wall. This is not a mistake. This is the law of the universe. Resistance is the gatekeeper of greatness. Most people encounter resistance and think they have done something wrong. They feel the internal voice that tells them they aren't good enough, or that it's too hard, or that they should wait until Monday. They believe this voice is telling them the truth. They think it's their own intuition protecting them. It's not. It's the 99% mindset trying to pull you back into the crab bucket. Resistance is a liar. It will use every tool in its arsenal to keep you small. It will use fear, it will use procrastination, and it will use rationalization. Rationalization is the most dangerous tool because it sounds like logic. It says, "You worked hard yesterday, you deserve a break today." Or, you need to do more research before you start. These are just sophisticated ways of quitting. You must learn to recognize the architecture of resistance so that you can dismantle it. Champions don't try to avoid resistance. They look for it. They know that where the resistance is strongest, the growth is greatest. Think of it like a compass. If you are wondering what you should be doing with your life, look for the thing that scares you the most. Look for the thing that you are procrastinating on. That is where your treasure is buried. Most people spend their lives trying to find the path of least resistance. They want the easy job, the easy relationship, and the easy workout. But easy things don't create champions. Easy things create weak people. Struggle is the only way to forge strength. When you lift a weight that is heavy, your muscle fibers tear. In the recovery, they grow back thicker and stronger to handle that load next time. Your mind works the exact same way. When you force yourself to focus when you are tired, your mental discipline grows. When you choose to be disciplined when you are stressed, your character grows. Every time you face resistance and push through it, you are building the architecture of a champion. You are creating a structure that can withstand the storms of life. Most people are like a house built on sand. When the first storm hits, they collapse. They lose their motivation, they fall into a depression, and they give up. But the person who has embraced the grind has built their house on a foundation of solid rock. They have faced resistance so many times that it no longer surprises them. They expect it. They welcome it. They say, "Is that all you've got?" This is the shift you must make. You must move from being a victim of resistance to being a master of it. This requires a fundamental change in how you talk to yourself. When that voice says you should quit, you don't argue with it. You don't try to reason with it. You just keep moving. You treat that voice like background noise, like the sound of traffic or the wind. It has no power over your actions unless you give it power. Most people are slaves to their feelings. If they feel like working, they work. If they don't feel like it, they don't. Champions are slaves to their commitments. They do what they said they were going to do long after the mood they said it in has left them. This is what it means to be a professional. A professional shows up regardless of how they feel. An amateur only shows up when the conditions are perfect. And the conditions are almost never perfect. There will always be a reason to wait. There will always be a reason why today isn't the right day. You must kill the part of you that waits for the right day. The right day is today. The right time is now. The struggle you are feeling right now is the price of admission for the life you want. If the life you wanted was easy to get, everyone would have it, but everyone doesn't have it. Most people are miserable, out of shape, and broke. They are that way because they surrendered to resistance. They let the wall stop them. You must be the person who breaks through the wall. And here is the secret. Once you break through one wall, you realize that you are a wall breaker. You gain a level of confidence that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. You know that no matter what life throws at you, you have the tools to handle it because you have practiced enduring the grind. Resistance is actually a gift. It is a filter. It filters out the weak, the uncommitted, and the lazy. It ensures that the rewards of greatness only go to those who have earned them. If there was no resistance, success would have no value. It would be like a participation trophy. But because it is hard, because it requires sacrifice and struggle, the victory is sweet. You must learn to love the struggle. You must learn to find a twisted kind of pleasure in the hard work. When you are sweating, when your brain is tired, when you feel like you can't go on, you should smile. Because that is the moment you are winning. That is the moment you are separating yourself from the pack. The 99% are quitting at that exact moment. They are going back to their comfort zones. But you are staying, you are pushing, you are embracing the grind. This is the architecture of success. It is not a straight line up. It is a series of battles against the part of you that wants to stay average. Each battle you win makes the next one easier. You are building a momentum that will eventually become unstoppable. But it starts with recognizing that resistance is not your enemy. It is your coach. It is testing you to see if you actually want what you say you want. Most people say they want success, but their actions show they want comfort more. You must decide right now that you want success more than you want comfort. You must be willing to trade your immediate pleasure for your long-term power. This is a trade the 99% are unwilling to make. They want the cookie now, the sleep now, the distraction now. You must be willing to wait. You must be willing to grind. This is how you build a life that others can only dream of. By doing what others won't do today so you can live how others can't live tomorrow. Understand that resistance will never go away. It just changes form. As you get more successful, the stakes get higher and the resistance gets more subtle. It will try to convince you that you have arrived and that you can relax. That is the most dangerous trap of all. The moment you stop grinding is the moment you start sliding backwards. There is no standing still in this life. You are either growing or you are dying. Choose growth, choose the struggle, choose the grind. Chapter 3: Mastering Your Morning Routine. The first hour of your day is the rudder that steers the rest of your ship. If you start your day in a state of reaction, you have already lost the battle. Most people wake up to a blaring alarm that they hate. They hit snooze 3 times, clinging to a few more minutes of low-quality sleep. Then they grab their phone and immediately start consuming the opinions, problems, and agendas of other people. They check their email. They look at social media. They read the news. Before they have even put their feet on the floor, they have surrendered their focus to the world. They are in a reactive state. They are defensive. They are already stressed. This is the 99% morning. It is a morning designed for mediocrity. A champion's morning is different. A champion knows that the morning is a sacred time to build internal strength. It is the time to win the first and most important battle of the day, the battle against yourself. If you can control your mind in the first hour, you can control your life for the next 16. The grind starts the moment your eyes open. In fact, it starts the night before. You must have a plan. You don't wake up and wonder what you are going to do. You wake up and execute. The first act of discipline is getting out of bed the moment the alarm goes off. No snooze. Not once. Snoozing is a declaration to the universe that your dreams aren't important enough to get out of bed for. It is a habit of starting your day with a defeat. When you get up immediately, you are starting your day with a victory. You are telling your brain that you are the boss, not your impulses. From there, You must move into a routine that prepares your body and your mind for the struggle ahead. This isn't about luxury, it's about utility. Most people think a morning routine is about scented candles and slow journaling. For a champion, a morning routine is about sharpening the blade. It might involve physical movement to wake up the nervous system. It might involve cold exposure to shock the body into alertness and build mental toughness. It might involve deep work on your most important task before the rest of the world is even awake. The goal is to move from a state of sleep to a state of high performance as quickly as possible. You must understand that most people are sleepwalking through their first few hours of work. They are waiting for the coffee to kick in, waiting for the right mood to strike. You should be 2 hours ahead of them before they have even had their first meeting. This is how you create an unfair advantage. Success is often just a matter of compounding small wins. If you win the morning every day for a year, you have 365 victories that your competition doesn't have. That gap becomes impossible for them to bridge. But the morning routine is not just about productivity, it's about identity. By doing the hard things early, you are reinforcing the identity of a champion. You are proving to yourself that you are disciplined. You are proving that you are the kind of person who does what is necessary, not what is convenient. This builds a deep, unshakable self-respect. Most people have very little self-respect because they constantly break the promises they make to themselves. They say they will work out and they don't. They say they will eat healthy and they don't. They say they will wake up early and they don't. Each broken promise is a brick removed from the foundation of their confidence. A champion keeps the promises they make to themselves, especially the ones that no one else sees. Your morning routine is a private contract between you and your future self. If you want to be a champion, you must honor that contract. You must also guard your focus during this time. The 99% are addicted to distraction. They can't go 10 minutes without checking their phones. This constant switching of attention destroys the ability to perform deep work. Deep work is the only kind of work that creates massive value. Shoveling snow or responding to emails is shallow work. It feels busy, but it moves the needle very little. Creating, strategizing, and solving complex problems is deep work. This requires long periods of uninterrupted focus. Your morning is the best time for this because the world hasn't started demanding your attention yet. Turn off your notifications. Put your phone in another room. Create a space where you can grind in silence. Most people are afraid of silence. They need the TV on, the music playing, or a podcast in their ears because silence forces them to confront their own thoughts. They are running from themselves. You must embrace the silence. In the silence, you find clarity. In the clarity, you find your edge. Your routine should be consistent. It shouldn't change because it's the weekend or because you are traveling. The grind doesn't take days off. The 99% live for the weekend. They spend 5 days doing what they hate so they can spend 2 days numbing themselves to forget the 5 days they just spent. This is a miserable way to live. A champion doesn't distinguish between Monday and Saturday. Every day is an opportunity to get better. Every morning is a chance to execute. If you find yourself struggling to maintain your routine, it's because you are focusing on the discomfort of the routine rather than the cost of not doing it. Think about where you will be in 5 years if you continue to wake up late and react to the world. You will be in the same place you are now, only older and more bitter. Now think about where you will be if you master your morning. You will be a completely different person. The discomfort of the early wake-up is temporary. The regret of a wasted life is permanent. Choose the temporary pain. Embrace the early hours. Find the beauty in the dark, cold morning before the sun comes up. There is a peace in that time that the 99% will never know. It is the peace of the warrior preparing for battle. You are sharpening your mind, hardening your body, and centering your soul. When the rest of the world finally wakes up and starts complaining about their problems, you will already be halfway to your goals. You will move through the day with a sense of calm authority because you have already won the most important fight. Mastering your morning is not about being a morning person. It's about being a disciplined person. It's about taking control of the one thing you actually have control over, your own actions. Stop making excuses about your biology or your schedule. You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference is how you use the first one. Use it to build a champion. Use it to embrace the grind. Chapter 4. Developing Mental Callouses. The brain is the most powerful tool you possess, but it is also a survival mechanism designed to keep you safe and comfortable. Its primary job is not to make you a champion. Its primary job is to keep you alive and conserve energy. This means that your brain will naturally resist anything that feels like a threat, including hard work, social rejection, and physical discomfort. If you leave your mind in its natural state, it will always steer you toward the path of least resistance. It will tell you to stay in bed, to eat the junk food, and to avoid the difficult conversation. To become a champion, you must override this survival mechanism. You must develop mental calluses. Think about what happens to your hands when you start lifting weights or doing manual labor. At first, your skin is soft. It blisters, it bleeds, and it hurts. If you stop there, your hands stay soft. But if you keep going, the skin thickens. It becomes tough. It develops calluses that allow you to handle more weight and more friction without pain. Your mind works exactly the same way. If you protect your mind from all discomfort, it stays soft. If you expose it to voluntary stress, it becomes calloused. Most people have soft minds. They are easily offended, easily discouraged, and easily distracted. They are undone by the smallest inconveniences. A champion's mind is calloused. It can endure criticism, failure, and exhaustion without breaking. This is not something you are born with. It is something you build by intentionally putting yourself in situations that you want to avoid. You develop mental calluses by doing things that suck. There is no other way. You must seek out the grind. You must look for the tasks that make you want to quit, and you must stay in them until you have mastered your own urge to escape. This is why champions often engage in extreme physical challenges. It's not just about the body, it's about the mind. When you are on a long run and every muscle in your body is screaming for you to stop, and you decide to run one more mile, you are callousing your mind. You are proving to yourself that your physical sensations do not dictate your actions. You are separating your identity from your impulses. The 99% are one with their impulses. If they feel tired, they are tired. If they feel bored, they are bored. You must become the observer of your feelings. You can feel tired and still work. You can feel afraid and still act. This distance between feeling and action is where greatness lives. Most people are afraid of their own thoughts. They fill every moment with noise so they don't have to listen to the voice in their head that tells them they are failing. A champion listens to that voice and uses it as fuel. They use it to identify where they are still soft. If you are afraid of public speaking, that is a soft spot in your mind. You must callous it by speaking in front of people until the fear no longer controls you. If you are afraid of being alone, you must callous it by spending time in solitude until you are comfortable in your own skin. The grind is the process of finding every soft part of your character and hardening it. This requires a level of self-awareness that most people are unwilling to cultivate. It's painful to look at your own weaknesses. It's much easier to blame your boss, your parents, or the government for your problems. But a champion takes extreme ownership of everything in their life. They realize that even if a situation isn't their fault, it is their responsibility to handle it. By taking responsibility, you take power. If someone else is the cause of your problems, then you have to wait for them to change to be happy. If you are the cause, you can change right now. This is a mental callous. It is the ability to stay empowered in the face of adversity. The 99% want to be victims because victims don't have to work. Victims get sympathy. Champions don't want sympathy. They want results. They would rather be hated for their success than pitied for their failure. Developing mental calluses also means learning how to handle the boredom of the grind. Most people think success is exciting. They think it's all big launches, trophy ceremonies, and celebrations. But the reality of success is incredibly boring. It is doing the same basic things over and over again for years. It is the boring workout. It is the boring meal prep. It is the boring accounting. The 99% quit because they get bored. They need constant novelty and excitement. They are like children chasing the next shiny toy. A champion understands that the magic is in the mundane. They find a way to fall in love with the repetition. They know that every boring rep is adding another layer to their mental callus. They aren't looking for a thrill. They are looking for mastery. Mastery is the result of thousand-fold repetition. You must also learn to callous your mind against the opinions of others. When you decide to leave the 99% and chase greatness, people will try to pull you back. They will tell you that you are working too hard, that you are being unrealistic, or that you have changed. They say these things because your growth makes them feel insecure about their own stagnation. If you listen to them, you will stay small with them. You must develop a callus against their criticism and their praise. Both are distractions. If you rely on their praise to feel good, you will rely on their approval to act. A champion is internally driven. They have their own scoreboard. They know if they did the work regardless of what the world says. This level of independence is rare, and it is forged in the grind. It is forged in the hours where you are working and no one sees you, no one thanks you, and no one cares. If you can do the work, then you can do it any time. Stop trying to find an easier way. The difficulty is the point. The struggle is the teacher. Every time you want to quit and you don't, you are becoming a more dangerous person. You are becoming someone who cannot be stopped by external forces. You are becoming a champion. This is not a one-time event. You don't just develop mental calluses once and you are done. Just like physical calluses, they will soften if you stop the work. You must maintain the grind. You must continue to challenge yourself. You must continue to do things that make you uncomfortable. The moment you start seeking comfort again is the moment you start losing your edge. Stay in the fire. Keep grinding. Keep callousing your mind until you are bulletproof. Chapter 5. The Science of Voluntary Suffering. We live in an age of unprecedented comfort. We have climate-controlled environments, food delivered to our doors, and endless entertainment at our fingertips. Evolutionarily, we are wired to seek this comfort because for our ancestors, comfort meant survival. But in the modern world, this biological drive has become a trap. Too much comfort leads to physical and mental atrophy. If you never have to struggle, you never develop the capacity to handle struggle. This is why so many people today are struggling with anxiety and depression, even though they have more resources than any generation in history. They have no resilience because they have no experience with suffering. A champion understands that to thrive in a world that is inherently unpredictable and difficult, one must engage in voluntary suffering. Voluntary suffering is the practice of choosing to endure hardship now to build strength for later. It is a deliberate shock to the system that keeps you sharp, resilient, and grounded. When you choose to take a cold shower, you are practicing voluntary suffering. Your body hates the cold. Your mind screams for you to turn the water to warm. By staying under the cold water, you are training your nervous system to stay calm under stress. You are proving that you can endure physical discomfort without panicking. This skill translates directly to the business world, to your relationships, and to every other area of your life. When a crisis hits, most people panic because their nervous systems are calibrated to a life of pure comfort. A champion stays calm because they have practiced being uncomfortable every morning. The 99% avoid suffering at all costs. They take the elevator, they eat the sugar, they avoid the cold. They think they are being smart by maximizing their pleasure. But they are actually making themselves fragile. They are like hothouse flowers that will wilt the moment they are taken out of their controlled environment. You must be an oak tree. You must be built to withstand the wind, the rain, and the frost. This only happens if you are exposed to the elements. The grind is your exposure. Every time you push yourself through a grueling workout, you are engaging in voluntary suffering. You are intentionally putting your body under stress to force an adaptation. This adaptation is not just physical, it is psychological. You are learning that suffering has an end. You are learning that you are capable of more than you thought. You are building a reservoir of toughness that you can draw upon when life gets truly hard. Because life will get hard. You will face loss, you will face failure, and you will face pain that you did not choose. If you have practiced voluntary suffering, you will be ready. If you haven't, you will be crushed. The science of this is clear. Controlled stress, known as hormesis, triggers biological processes that improve health, longevity, and cognitive function. But beyond the science, there is the spiritual aspect of the grind. There is a sense of pride that comes from doing things the hard way. There is a self-respect that cannot be bought or faked. It is the result of looking at a difficult path and choosing it anyway. Most people are looking for the life hack that allows them to get the result with zero effort. They want the pill that burns fat, the app that makes them rich, the shortcut to enlightenment. These things don't exist. And even if they did, they would be worthless because they wouldn't change the person. The value of the champion's journey is not the trophy. It's the person you become in order to win the trophy. The person who has endured the grind is a different species than the person who has coasted. You must integrate voluntary suffering into your daily life. It doesn't have to be extreme, but it must be consistent. It's choosing to walk instead of drive. It's choosing the difficult task first. It's choosing to fast and feel hunger. It's choosing to stay in the gym for 10 more minutes when you are already tired. These small acts of voluntary suffering are the weightlifting of the soul. They build a character that is unshakable. Most people are slaves to their desires. If they want something, they must have it immediately. This makes them weak and easy to manipulate. A champion is a master of their desires. They can delay gratification. They can endure lack. They can stay focused on the mission regardless of their physical state. This is true freedom. Freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want. It is the power to do what is right even when you don't want to. The 99% are prisoners of their own comfort. They are trapped in a golden cage of their own making. They are afraid to leave the cage because it's cold and hard outside. But you know that the only way to truly live is to step outside. The only way to find your limits is to push against them. The only way to become a champion is to embrace the struggle. Stop complaining about how hard your life is and start being grateful for the challenges. The challenges are the whetstone that sharpens your blade. If your life was easy, you would be dull. You would be average. You would be forgotten. But because you are willing to suffer, because you are willing to grind, you have the potential for greatness. Do not waste that potential by seeking an easy life. Pray for a strong mind and a resilient spirit, and then go out and do the work that will build them. The grind is not a punishment. It is a privilege. It is the process of shedding everything that is weak and unnecessary until only the champion remains. Embrace the suffering. It is the fire that forges the steel. Chapter 6. Escaping the Trap of Instant Gratification. We live in a world designed to give us what we want, the second we want it. We are bombarded with cheap dopamine from every direction. Every like on a photo, every bite of highly processed food, Every infinite scroll on a video app is a hit of instant gratification. This is the greatest enemy of the champion. Instant gratification is the siren song that lures the 99% into a life of mediocrity. The 99% are addicted to the now. They cannot see past the next 5 minutes. They make decisions based on what feels good in the moment, rather than what is good for their future. This is why they are broke, out of shape, and unfulfilled. They have traded their potential for a series of fleeting pleasures. A champion operates on a different timeline. A champion understands the power of delayed gratification. They are willing to suffer now so they can win later. They are willing to work for years in obscurity for a moment of excellence. They are willing to say no to the party, no to the junk food, and no to the distraction because they have a vision of their future self that is more compelling than the pleasure of the moment. This is the core of the grind. The grind is the long game. It is the understanding that anything worth having takes time and sustained effort. There are no overnight successes. There are only people who worked so hard for so long that when they finally broke through, the world called it luck. You must escape the trap of instant gratification if you want to be exceptional. This requires a total rewiring of your brain. You have to learn to distrust your immediate impulses. When you feel the urge to check your phone, you must realize that is a weakness. When you feel the urge to quit a workout, you must realize that is the 99% mindset trying to take over. You must develop the discipline to pause and ask yourself, does this action move me toward the person I want to become, or does it just make me feel better right now? Most people never ask this question. They just react. They are like animals driven by instinct and appetite. You are a human being with the capacity for reason and foresight. Use it. The gap between your current life and your dream life is filled with the things you are currently avoiding because they don't provide instant pleasure. Building a business is hard. Learning a new language is hard. Saving money is hard. These things don't give you dopamine right away. In fact, they usually give you stress and frustration in the beginning. But the long-term payoff is massive. The 99% can't handle the frustration phase of any new endeavor. They start something, it gets difficult, they don't get immediate results, and they quit. They move on to the next thing, looking for that initial spark of excitement. They are perpetual beginners. A champion is a finisher. They push through the frustration phase. They stay in the grind until the results start to compound. And when they do start to see results, they don't stop and celebrate. They use that momentum to push even harder. Success is a lagging indicator of work. The work you do today won't show up for months or even years. This is why most people quit. They don't see the scale moving or the bank account growing after 1 week, so they think the work isn't working. It is working. You are building the foundation. You are planting the seeds. You can't plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. You have to water it, protect it, and wait. The grind is the watering. It is the daily, monotonous task of doing what is necessary without seeing the fruit of your labor. If you can master this, you can achieve anything. But you must be willing to be bored. You must be willing to be unsatisfied for a long time. The world will try to distract you. It will tell you that you are missing out. It will tell you to live in the moment. But living in the moment is often just a slogan for being impulsive and irresponsible. Champions live for the mission. They find their joy in the progress, not just the pleasure. They find satisfaction in knowing they are stronger today than they were yesterday. This is a much deeper and more lasting form of happiness than the cheap thrills of the 99%. To escape the trap, you must audit your life. Look at where you are spending your time and energy. How much of it is going toward instant gratification? How much of it is an investment in your future? Most people are shocked when they actually track their time. They realize they are spending hours every day on things that bring them zero value. They are leaking their potential through 1,000 small distractions. You must plug those leaks. You must become ruthless with your time. Say no to the things that don't matter so you can say yes to the grind. This will make you unpopular with the 99%. They will call you obsessed. They will call you intense. Let them. Their opinions don't pay your bills and they don't build your legacy. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to become a champion. And becoming a champion requires a level of focus that most people find uncomfortable. It requires a willingness to be misunderstood. It requires a commitment to the long, hard road. Remember that every time you resist an impulse for instant gratification, you are strengthening your willpower. Willpower is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Each time you say no to the distraction, it becomes easier to say no the next time. You are building the habit of excellence. You are becoming the master of your own destiny. The grind is not about being a robot. It's about being the architect of your own life. It's about choosing the higher path over the lower one. It's about proving that you are not a slave to your biology or your environment. You are a champion, and champions play for the long term. They embrace the grind because they know it's the only way to get where they want to go. Leave the cheap thrills to the 99%. You have a kingdom to build. Chapter 7. Building your inner circle. You are not an island. No matter how much internal drive you have, you are fundamentally influenced by the people you surround yourself with. The 99% are surrounded by other 99%ers. They hang out with people who have the same excuses, the same bad habits, and the same lack of ambition. They do this because it makes them feel safe. When everyone around you is average, you don't feel the pressure to grow. You can complain about the world together and validate each other's mediocrity. This is the death of greatness. If you want to be a champion, you must be willing to audit your inner circle. You must realize that proximity is power. If you spend your time with 5 confident, driven, successful people, you will inevitably become the 6th. Their mindset will rub off on you. Their standards will become your standards. Their work ethic will challenge you to level up. Conversely, if you spend your time with people who are lazy, negative, and stuck, they will drag you down. It doesn't matter how strong you think you are. Gravity is real, and social gravity is just as powerful. Most people are afraid to leave their old social circles because of loyalty or history. They stay friends with people from high school or college even though they no longer share the same values or goals. They feel guilty for outgrowing people. But you must understand that your first loyalty is to your own potential. If you stay in an environment that stifles your growth, you are betraying yourself. You are not helping your friends by staying small with them. You help them by becoming a champion and showing them what is possible. If they are true friends, they will be inspired by your growth. If they are not, they will try to pull you down. Either way, you get the clarity you need. Building a champion's inner circle requires being intentional and ruthless. You must seek out people who are better than you. You must find mentors who have already achieved what you want to achieve. You must find peers who are grinding just as hard as you are. These people won't come to you while you are sitting on your couch. You have to go where they are. You have to put yourself in environments where excellence is the norm. This might mean paying for masterminds, attending high-level seminars, or simply reaching out to people you admire and offering value. Most people are too intimidated to approach successful people. They think they have nothing to offer. But successful people are always looking for driven, disciplined, and humble individuals to bring into their orbit. If you show that you are a worker, if you show that you are willing to embrace the grind, you will find that the doors to the 1% start to open. A champion's inner circle is not just about networking, it's about accountability. You need people in your life who will tell you the truth, even when it hurts. You need people who will call you out when you are being lazy or when you are making excuses. Most people surround themselves with yes men who tell them everything they want to hear. This is how leaders become delusional and how champions become soft. You need a circle of lions who will challenge you. When you see your peer working harder than you, it should bother you. Not in a way that leads to envy, but in a way that leads to inspiration. It should push you to find another gear. This is the power of a high-level environment. It raises your floor. Your bad day in a champion's circle would be a great day for the 99%. You must also learn to protect your energy from the energy vampires. These are the people who constantly complain, who always have a new drama, and who try to distract you from your mission. They may be family members, old friends, or coworkers. You cannot allow them to take up space in your head. You must set firm boundaries. You don't have to be mean, but you must be clear. Your time and focus are your most valuable assets. Don't give them away to people who don't respect them. The grind is hard enough without having people whispering doubt in your ear. You need a support system that understands the sacrifice you are making. Most people will never understand why you work so hard. They will never understand why you choose the struggle. You don't need them to understand. You just need to make sure they don't slow you down. Surround yourself with people who speak the language of growth. Surround yourself with people who are more interested in ideas and execution than in gossip and entertainment. This shift in your social environment will feel lonely at first. When you stop hanging out with the 99%, you will have more free time and fewer invitations. Embrace this loneliness. It is the transition period where you are shedding your old life and building your new one. Use that time to grind. Use it to get so good that you become a magnet for the people you actually want in your life. The higher you climb, the better the view and the better the company. But the climb is a solo journey for a long time. You have to be okay with that. You have to be your own best friend and your own toughest coach. Eventually, you will look around and realize you are surrounded by giants. You will realize that you have built a circle that is worthy of the champion you are becoming. This doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. It happens because you refuse to settle for mediocrity in your relationships just as you refuse to settle for it in your work. Your inner circle is the reflection of your self-worth. If you value yourself, you will only allow high-value people into your life. The grind is not just about what you do, it's about who you do it with. Choose wisely. Your future depends on it. Chapter 8. The Power of Consistency over Intensity. The 99% are obsessed with intensity. They love the idea of the big push. They get inspired by a movie or a speech and they go to the gym for 4 hours in one day. They start a business and work 20 hours straight for 3 days. They make grand declarations about how they are going to change their lives forever. And then, by the second week, they are gone. They have burned out. They are back to their old habits, waiting for the next spark of inspiration to hit them. They are like a firework, bright and loud for a moment and then nothing but smoke. A champion is not a firework. A champion is a coal fire. They burn steady, they burn long, and they burn hot for years. A champion understands that consistency beats intensity every single time. The grind is not about being superhuman for one day. It's about being disciplined every single day. It's about the power of the small, unremarkable actions that compound over time. Most people underestimate what they can do in a year and overestimate what they can do in a day. They want the massive result immediately, and when it doesn't happen, they quit. But if you do just 1% more than the average person every day by the end of the year, you aren't just 365% better. Because of the power of compounding, you are light years ahead. Consistency is the ultimate test of the champion's mindset. Anyone can work hard when they are motivated. Anyone can be disciplined when things are going well. The true measure of your character is what you do when the motivation is gone, when you are tired, when you are bored, and when no one is watching. That is the grind. It is the ability to show up and do the work regardless of the circumstances. Most people are fair-weather workers. They only grind when the sun is shining. You must be the person who grinds in the rain, in the snow, and in the dark. This requires a shift from being goal-oriented to being system-oriented. A goal is a destination in the future. A system is a process you execute today. If you only focus on the goal, you will be perpetually frustrated because the goal is far away. If you focus on the system, you can win every single day. If your system is to write 500 words or make 20 sales calls or run 5 miles, then you win the moment you complete that task. You get a win today. And those daily wins build a momentum that makes the long-term goal inevitable. The 99% are looking for a miracle. You are looking for a process. You must learn to trust the process even when you can't see the progress. Think about a bamboo tree. For the first 4 years, you water it and nothing happens. There is no sign of life above the ground. An average person would stop watering it after a month. But in the 5th year, the bamboo grows 80 feet in 6 weeks. Was it the work of the 5th year that did it? No. It was the 4 years of consistent watering when nothing seemed to be happening. The tree was building a massive root system underground that could support its future growth. Your grind is your root system. You are building the foundation of character, skill, and discipline that will support your future success. Don't worry about the results yet. Just worry about the watering. Just worry about the consistency. Most people quit right before the breakthrough because they can't handle the nothing is happening phase. You must be different. You must have the faith to keep grinding in the silence. This is why habits are so important. Habits take the decision-making out of the equation. If you have to decide to work every day, you will eventually make the wrong decision. You will have a bad day and your brain will talk you out of it. But if working is a habit like brushing your teeth, you just do it. It becomes part of your identity. You don't have to think about it. This is how champions achieve such incredible levels of output. They aren't using more willpower than you, they have just automated their discipline. They have turned the grind into a ritual. You must audit your habits. What are you doing consistently? Are you consistently scrolling, consistently complaining, consistently eating poorly? You are already consistent. You are just consistent at the wrong things. The grind is the process of replacing those destructive consistencies with productive ones. It will be hard for the first 21 to 60 days. That is the rewiring phase. It will feel unnatural and you will want to go back to your old ways. But if you can push through that initial resistance, the new habit will take hold. It will become easier to do the work than not to do it. You will feel off if you miss your workout or your deep work session. This is the mark of a champion. Their baseline has moved. Consistency also creates trust. It creates trust with yourself and it creates trust with the world. When you are consistent, people know they can rely on you. Opportunities start to find you because you are a known entity. You are the person who shows up. In a world of flakes and pretenders, the person who consistently shows up is a king. But more importantly, you trust yourself. You know that if you say you are going to do something, it's as good as done. This self-trust is the source of true confidence. It's not the fake bravado that most people put on. It's a quiet, unshakable certainty that you can handle whatever comes your way because you have a proven track record of discipline. Stop looking for the quantum leap. Stop looking for the one big thing that will change everything. Focus on the small things. Focus on being slightly better today than you were yesterday. Focus on the grind. The champions are the ones who stayed in the game the longest. They are the ones who didn't quit when it got boring. They are the ones who realize that consistency is the only real superpower. Embrace the daily routine. Find the rhythm in the work. Stay in the fire long enough to be forged. The 99% will drop out. They always do. If you just stay consistent, you will eventually find yourself at the top, simply because you were the only one who didn't stop. Chapter 9. Reframing Failure as Data. One of the biggest obstacles to embracing the grind is the fear of failure. Most people see failure as a terminal event. They think it's a reflection of their worth as a person. They think that if they fail, it means they aren't meant for success. This fear is what keeps the 99% trapped in their comfort zones. They would rather not try at all than try and fail. They protect their egos at the expense of their potential. But a champion has a completely different relationship with failure. A champion sees failure not as a disaster but as data. Failure is simply the world telling you that your current approach is not working. It is a feedback loop. It is an essential part of the learning process. If you aren't failing, you aren't pushing hard enough. You are playing it safe, and safe is the fastest way to mediocrity. The grind is a series of experiments. You try something, you see what happens, you adjust, and you try again. Every failure gives you a piece of information that you didn't have before. It narrows down the path to success. The only real failure is quitting. Everything else is just a lesson. You must develop a thick skin toward failure. You must learn to separate your identity from your results. If a project fails, you are not a failure. You are a person who conducted an experiment that didn't yield the desired result. This distinction is crucial. It allows you to stay objective and keep moving. The 99% get emotionally devastated by failure. They take it personally. They let it define them. A champion stays analytical. They ask, why didn't this work? What can I change? What did I miss? They use the pain of the failure as fuel to work harder and smarter the next time. Most people are terrified of looking stupid. They are afraid of what their friends, their family, or the internet will say if they fail. But the people who are judging you from the sidelines are not the people you should be worried about. They aren't in the game. They aren't taking risks. Their opinions are irrelevant. A champion only cares about the opinions of those who are also in the arena. And those people understand that failure is part of the price of admission. They respect the person who fails and gets back up more than the person who never tries. The grind is the process of failing forward. It is the willingness to be a fool so that you can eventually become a master. Every master was once a disaster. Every expert was once a beginner who refused to quit after their first 100 mistakes. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall down hundreds of times. Do they ever stop and think, maybe walking isn't for me? No, they just get back up and try again. They don't have an ego yet. They haven't been taught to fear failure. You must return to that state of mind. You must become a student of the grind again. You must be willing to fall down, dust yourself off, and keep moving. The 99% have been conditioned by a school system that punishes mistakes. They have been taught that an F is the end of the world. But in the real world, the person with the most Fs often becomes the most successful because they have learned the most. They have tried the most things. They have the most data. Success is often just a matter of staying in the game long enough to get lucky. But luck is just the intersection of preparation and opportunity. And preparation is the result of all the failures you endured during the grind. You must also learn to embrace micro-failures. These are the daily setbacks and frustrations that try to derail your progress. The car breaks down, the client cancels, the computer crashes. Most people let these micro-failures ruin their entire day. They use them as excuses to stop working. A champion sees them as minor inconveniences. They solve the problem and get back to the grind. They don't give these small events the power to dictate their mood or their productivity. They have a solution-oriented mindset. Instead of complaining about the problem, they focus 100% of their energy on the solution. This is a mental habit that you must cultivate. When something goes wrong, give yourself 60 seconds to be frustrated and then move immediately into fix-it mode. This is how you maintain your momentum. Momentum is the champion's best friend. It is much easier to keep moving than it is to start from a standstill. Failure tries to kill your momentum. It tries to make you stop and overthink. Don't let it. Keep grinding. Use the failure as a stepping stone. If you look at the history of any great champion, you will see a trail of failures behind them. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before he invented the light bulb. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. These people didn't succeed despite their failures. They succeeded because of them. They used the struggle to sharpen their resolve. They used the data from their failures to perfect their craft. This is the path you are on. Every time you face a setback, remind yourself, this is part of the grind. This is the data I need. This is the test. Most people will quit here. This is where I pull ahead. If you can maintain this perspective, you become invincible. Because if failure doesn't stop you, nothing can. You become a force of nature. You become a champion. Stop fearing the fall and start fearing the life you will live if you never take the risk. The pain of failure is temporary. The pain of regret is forever. Choose the temporary pain. Embrace the data. Embrace the grind. Chapter 10. The Identity of a Champion. After all the talk of routines, discipline, and suffering, we come to the most important part of the journey, identity. You can have the best plan in the world. You can wake up at 4 a.m. and you can work 15 hours a day. But if your internal identity is still that of an average person, you will eventually self-sabotage. You will hit a certain level of success, and your brain will tell you that you don't belong there. You will feel like an imposter. You will start to relax, start to slip back into old habits, and eventually you will find yourself back in the 99%. To truly embrace the grind and sustain excellence, you must undergo an identity shift. You must stop trying to be a champion and start being a champion. This is a subtle but profound difference. When you are trying, you are acting from the outside in. You are forcing yourself to do things that feel foreign to who you are. This requires a massive amount of willpower, and willpower is a finite resource. When you are a champion, you are acting from the inside out. You do the work because that is simply what someone like you does. It requires no more effort than breathing. A champion doesn't have to decide to work hard. They work hard because they are a hard worker. It is part of their DNA. Most people have an identity rooted in their past failures and their current limitations. They tell themselves stories like, "I've never been good at math," or "I'm just not a morning person," or "I've always struggled with my weight." These stories become self-fulfilling prophecies. Your brain will always seek to align your actions with your identity. If you believe you are a lazy person, you will find ways to be lazy, even when you have every reason to work. You must burn your old identity. You must let go of the stories that have kept you small. This is the final and most difficult part of the grind. It is the psychological shedding of the 99% version of yourself. You must adopt a new set of beliefs. You must believe that you are disciplined, that you are resilient, and that you are worthy of greatness. You don't wait for the world to tell you this. You tell the world. You act as if it is already true. This is not fake it until you make it. This is embody it until you become it. Every time you execute your routine, every time you push through the struggle, and every time you choose the hard path, you are casting a vote for your new identity. Each disciplined action is a piece of evidence that you are who you say you are. Over time, the weight of this evidence becomes undeniable. You look in the mirror and you don't see the person who used to make excuses. You see a champion. This identity becomes your armor. When people criticize you, it doesn't hurt because you know who you are. When you face a massive setback, it doesn't break you because you know what you are capable of enduring. The 99% are constantly seeking external validation to tell them who they are. They need the title, the likes, and the approval of others to feel good. A champion has internal validation. They have the self-respect that comes from years of the grind. They know their own worth because they have earned it in the dark hours. This identity shift also changes how you perceive the grind. It is no longer a sacrifice. Sacrifice implies that you are giving up something you want for something else, but a champion doesn't want the lazy life. They don't want the junk food. They don't want the distraction. They want the growth. They want the challenge. To them, the lazy life is the sacrifice. They would be sacrificing their potential, their purpose, and their pride. When you reach this level, the grind is no longer a burden. It is an expression of who you are. It is the way you show up in the world. You must also realize that being a champion is not a destination. It is a process. You don't become a champion and then stop. The moment you stop grinding is the moment you lose the identity. A champion is someone who is currently in the arena. It is someone who is currently pushing their limits. You are only as good as your last workout, your last project, and your last act of discipline. This keeps you humble and hungry. The 99% are always talking about what they used to do. I used to be an athlete. I used to be successful. A champion is focused on what they are doing right now. They are focused on the next rep, the next mile, the next win. This is the eternal grind. It is a lifelong commitment to excellence. Most people are afraid of this level of commitment. They want to arrive so they can relax, but there is no arrival. There is only the path, and the path is the reward. If you can learn to love the path, you will never have to worry about the destination. The results will take care of themselves. You must also learn to lead others through your identity. A true champion raises the standards of everyone around them. They don't do this through speeches or lectures. They do it through their example. When you embody the grind, you give others permission to do the same. You become a lighthouse for those who are lost in the fog of mediocrity. This is the highest level of success. It is not about what you get. It is about who you become and how many people you help along the way. But it all starts with you. It starts with the decision to stop being average. It starts with the courage to embrace the struggle. It starts with the identity of a champion. You are no longer one of the 99%. You are the 1%. You are the worker, the warrior, the winner. You are the one who stays when others leave. You are the one who smiles when it hurts. You are the one who knows that the grind is the way to the stars. This is your new reality. Now go out and live it. Every single day. Every single hour. Until the very end. Embrace the grind. Be the champion. Closing, the final call to greatness. We have come to the end of this journey, but for you, the real work is only just beginning. You have heard the truths that most people are too afraid to acknowledge. You have seen the blueprint for a life of exceptional meaning and achievement. You understand now that the struggle you have been avoiding is actually the key to everything you want. The grind is not your enemy. It is your creator. But I must leave you with one final truth. Everything we have discussed means nothing if it stays in your head. The world is full of well-informed failures. It is full of people who have read every book, listened to every podcast, and attended every seminar but who never actually did the work. They are professional consumers of inspiration. They use information as a way to procrastinate on implementation. Do not be one of them. The 99% are waiting for more information, more clarity, or more motivation. The champion acts with whatever they have right now. You do not need another audiobook. You do not need another mentor. You do not need another sign from the universe. You have everything you need to start the grind today. You have the discipline to wake up early. You have the strength to endure discomfort. You have the mind to reframe failure. And you have the choice to decide who you are going to be. From this moment on, you are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your destiny. Every excuse you have ever made is now invalid. You know the truth. You know that you are capable of greatness, and you know that the only thing standing in your way is your own willingness to suffer and stay consistent. The path ahead will be hard. It will be lonely. It will be boring. There will be days when you want to throw in the towel and go back to the comfortable, mediocre life of the 99%. In those moments, I want you to remember why you started. Remember the vision of the champion you are becoming. Remember that the pain of the grind is temporary, but the pride of the victory lasts forever. You were not born to be average. You were not born to blend in. You were born to stand out, to lead, and to achieve. But that birthright is only realized through the fire of the grind. It is earned, not given. Go out and earn it. Earn it in the early hours. Earn it in the difficult tasks. Earn it in the silence. Build your legacy one brick, one rep, one day at a time. The world is waiting for you to show them what a champion looks like. Stop talking and start doing. Embrace the struggle. Embrace the pain. Embrace the grind. Your life is waiting for you on the other side. This is your moment. This is your time. Now go and become the champion you were meant to be. The grind never stops, and neither do you.